And now, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And yes, welcome to the Consumer Quarterback Show. We always like to help you win, make you more informed as a consumer out there. Consumer Quarterback Show powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We're a top 100 ranked real estate team in Tampa Bay. Commercial, vacant land, residential, of course, we can help you with that. We got a great lineup for you here on the show. Clyde Smith, he's the general manager of the Bilmar Beach Resort. We're going to get a beach update from Clyde Smith. Treasure Island, Florida. Ray Hall Appraisals. He's our valuation expert, real estate market expert, coming up on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Going to talk about large cities versus smaller cities as well. And we've got Captain Will Smith in studio. He's going to talk about the airline industry, what's going on lately, some of the different challenges that we've seen, to put it lightly, as well, coming up on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Now, we always like to feature our real estate listings live on air. We got a hot listing here in Tampa. This one's 1991 Orange Court in Dunedin, Florida. That's Pinellas County, 1991 Orange Court. This is a beautiful home. One of my favorite listings right now. 2881 square feet, 5 bedrooms, 3 bath. Gorgeous updated kitchen with some very nice features. Solar panels, oversized heated pool, large screened-in patio, huge split floor plan, cul-de-sac home right here in beautiful Dunedin, Florida. One of our hot listings from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. 2817 Gulf City Road. This is another development play. Check out this property, 23 acres on the Little Manatee River. Think about putting townhomes, apartments here on this land. 23 acres, great development play, $1.8 million listing, direct Gulf access on the Little Manatee River. Great opportunity to own real estate, purchase land, develop land, and build the American dream. 2817 Gulf City Road, Ruskin, Florida. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
And yeah, I'm raising my glass to those saving our ass overseas.
Yeah, raising our glass to those saving our ass. That's our friend Cole Swindell. Thank you to our veterans out there serving our great country, foreign and domestic. Thanks to all the veterans who have served this great country. And thank you to you listening, our audience out there, YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Greatly appreciate if you would do that. And I want to give a special thanks to Satellite Phone Store. They just hooked me up with this beautiful satellite phone, and it's a gorgeous phone. It's a great device. It's a safety device as well. Think about it. If you're out on the boat 40, 50 miles out, maybe you're going hunting or you're going hiking in the woods somewhere, you run out of cell phone service, or who knows, maybe a possible terrorist attack. It's not like our politicians aren't entrenched in all this stuff going on overseas, all over the place, all over the world. Could be a terrorist attack. They could attack the power grid. They could attack the cell phones. Who knows what they're going to attack next? Sat123.com/REQB. Sat for satellite. Sat123.com/REQB, like real estate quarterback. So please support this wonderful sponsor for the show. And this is something you want to think about. If you haven't done that before, this is almost as important as having your AR-15s, your handguns, your concealed permit carry, and all of the ammo that you can buy from Thomas King, Florida Firearms Academy. Right, Captain? Yes, so sir. Satellite Phone Store, these are pretty important. Anywhere out in the world, if I'm on a boat, if I'm out in the woods, wherever I'm at, as long as I'm outside and I point this satellite phone towards the equator, I've got service. Mm-hmm. I've got geolocation. Yep. I can let people know where I'm at. I can send text messages, and I could drop a pre-described message to any of the friends in my contact log, mm-hmm. and then, hey, help will be on the way.
Yep, we have one on all of our private jets in case something happens and we need to have immediate contact with the ground. Because the first thing they take out is communications.
Right.
So, that's one of the things that cell phones, they go down. And the government controls the cell phone service, so they just want to shut off a certain area because of whatever's going on. You've got your cell phone. you can, power it up and make a phone call.
Your satellite phone.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Sat123.com/REQB. So we wanted to bring Captain Will Smith in, and he's an author. He's also a private pilot. He flies around some pretty big names, some former NFL coaches, lots of big-time businessmen and women based not only here in Tampa Bay but across the world. And, Will, you called me up the other night, and you said, hey, what's going on? Said you were kind of updating me on what's going on with the airline industry and some of this Pete Buttigieg stuff going on happening out there, and pronouns and redefining what the cockpit is.
It's a circus, man. It really is.
Yeah.
I don't know what, most people, when you apply for a job, you have some kind of background or experience in that field. Petey, on the other hand, has zero experience in transportation. And what's insulting to people like me that have, spent 25 years of their life in a certain industry, for him to come along and start changing the vernacular of what you call the cockpit or airmen, notice to airmen. It's always been notice to airmen, Brandon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ever since the aviation started, and now he wants to say notice to air missions.
Yeah.
He wants to be politically correct. Well, he knows what he can do with that political correctness, because us, older guys have been in the industry. It'll always be airmen. We're not going to change it to anything else, and we'll always call it airmen. He really needs to stay out of the FAA. He has zero experience in transportation as far as it comes with across the board, as I know. I don't know if he's ever been a conductor on a train. Has he ever flown 121 as a pilot? Is he a captain? Is he a PIC? Is he a flight instructor? Do you have a degree in aviation? PD? Where do you get off coming in and start changing things around in my industry and everyone else's industry?
Well, he rode his bike. Did you see that clip one time? He took his bike on the back of an Escalade. He stopped about a mile from the Capitol, and he pulls the bike off the Escalade, jumps on the bike, and acts like he rode his bike all the way there.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that sounds like something we do.
Maybe had a squirt bottle, put a little perspiration on his forehead.
Yeah. Little sugar britches up there in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure, yeah.
But go ahead.
He needs to just stay out of that, because he knows nothing about what he's talking about. He's more focused on what the vernacular is and how we can be politically correct than solving the problem.
Yeah.
He's not a problem solver. All he does is make problems. He creates fires and then puts them out to say and pounds on his chest, look what I did.
It tells you to go buy an electric vehicle, which costs triple the money that an average American can't afford anyways,
right.
Because not only is inflation up, gas is up, food is up, everything's up since Joe Biden took office.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everything's gone through the ceiling. The one smart thing that I did was buy chickens 3 years ago, because I don't pay $10 for a dozen eggs.
Well, you've done some other smart things,
Oh,
too.
yeah, I know, right?
but that's interesting, because the eggs have gone up tremendously, too.
Oh, yeah, they have. But I still go out. My hens, they provide me 6 eggs a day, so
wow.
I'm good to go.
Wow, that's daily, huh?
Yeah, it's daily.
That's awesome, man.
It's almost 3 dozen eggs a week I get from those little ladies. So
that's cool.
I'm saving a penny there too. But yeah, as far as the airlines are concerned, we've had a lot of issues that people haven't been addressing. The Southwest debacle, that was Southwest fault. They have an old system that should have been updated, but unfortunately, like anything else, you got to cut corners somewhere. So they don't want to give up the big board members don't want to give up their $1 million bonuses every year, so they just keep on using the old system. That was the big shutdown with pilots, and it's specific to pilot scheduling that failed. So you had all these planes and no pilots to fly it. That's what created that problem. The secondly we just had was the NOTAMs, notice to airmen. That system failed. That was an FAA system. So what is a notice to airmen? Well, it lets you know of any runway closures at an airport, any towers that are down, because there's federal towers that could be down, not operating properly, landing lights, if an ILS is not working, if an RNAV is not working, something the pilots need to know to guide the plane to the airport when you're in bad weather conditions.
Yeah.
So these NOTAMs were down, which gave a ground stop. Now, this is only applicable to 121, which is the airlines, which is scheduled, flights. It wasn't applicable to the 91 guys, because the 91 guys do not follow in the guidelines of the Part 121. So we were still able to fly, but the airlines, unfortunately, got shut down. And Pete, he should know better.
How many people are affected, by the way? Let's go back to the airlines. You're talking about Delta. You're talking about the big guys.
American,
United.
Delta, Southwest, United, any charter companies. Yes. Oh, yeah, millions and millions of people.
Because of the changing of the vernacular and something to do with plugging in.
Well,
something
it wasn't
to
the
system.
changing of the vernacular. It was just an old system.
Okay.
That if Petey knew what he was doing, he would have spearheaded this and taken care of it a long time ago.
Right.
But he didn't.
Right.
You know why? Because he knows nothing about
aviation. They don't have foresight.
Yeah, they're ignorant. You're putting people in positions that know nothing about what they're doing. They're just there because it's a title.
Well, they
which
check
is,
boxes. The more
Yeah.
intersectionality boxes you check,
Right.
you know, if you have, you know, lesbian and you're gay and you have, you know, certain skin color. And that was the other thing we've talked about before, too, with United. Didn't they blatantly say
their
they
CEO was going to specifically hire people that, you know, men that dress like women in the cockpit. I tell you what, if I was a captain in any of that, I would have left or would have thrown that guy out of the cockpit, because that is not the place that you want to have some kind of horseplay like that going on.
Yeah, it's
you
ridiculous.
It ruins the profession, the professionalism's associated, and I really, you know, enough is enough with all this.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm sick and tired of it. If you're a professional, you act in a professional way. You conduct yourself appropriately. You know, there's obviously something wrong with these people in their mind because they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And they're acting, you know, a fool. And now you're putting the safety. And the safety part is I've been following the trends. And months ago we talked about this. We talked about at the fact that it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
And the reason that is,
Let's play the clips.
Yep.
We got some footage. Alex is
Yeah,
going to play
check
the
'em out.
B-roll footage. So describe to us what we're seeing on the screen. By the way, if you're watching our YouTube channel or maybe our show on Apple TV, Amazon, Roku, 80 different outlets worldwide, Consumer Quarterback Show online in a lot of different places. What are we looking at here, Will?
so here we're looking at a Phenom 300. I fly this exact same plane. It's a very popular mid-size business jet. What happened here is the pilots flew into an airport where they have a contaminated runway. Contamination means it has water on it, snow, ice, things of that nature. In this case, it was water. So the braking action, we have something called factored and unfactored braking action. Well, if you're just driving down the road in your car, these aircraft have anti-skid brakes on them, just like a car does. So if you were to slam on the brakes on a wet road in your car, the anti-skid's going to kick in, and it's going to take you longer to stop. Well, these aircraft, when they cross the threshold of touchdown, they're doing them 100 miles an hour plus. Mm-hmm. So when they're touching down, that speed with even a 1/16 of an inch of water can cause the aircraft to hydroplane.
And they weigh how much, these planes?
These on landing are probably around 14,000 pounds.
Wow.
So you have to look at it from the energy. You have to transfer energy. So when you have a plane coming in at that weight with that speed, that energy needs to be transferred somewhere so the plane can stop. Well, the unfactored part of this, I looked at this airport, I looked at the length of the runway, and then I looked in how much runway they would need to stop the aircraft. They only had, I think, 4,600 feet of runway to stop, and they needed over 5,000 foot of runway. So what happened on this particular one is they finally realized that they weren't going to stop. They probably stood up on the brakes even more, which caused the aircraft to something called the Phenom shuffle, because the brakes will start to engage when they're ready to engage.
Right.
It's not like on your car you touch the brake and you slow down.
Right.
You stand up on the brakes, and it has a system that goes through where it will start to gradually slow the aircraft down over an extended period of time.
Right.
Well, in this case, the hydroplane, I sent you a video of it, and
saw
these
it.
guys were just sliding, hydroplaning, sliding sideways.
And what's the value of that plane?
Brand new, you can right now. Used ones are going for $8 to $9 million. So
Wow.
new, you're looking over $10 million.
So it's a big mistake if I'm a business owner and I hire the wrong pilot.
Right, and this was pilot error. They should have never landed at that airport. This is what I'm talking about, the inexperience.
Yeah.
They're getting inexperienced pilots flying planes they don't need to be flying because
That's right.
they don't have that experience yet, and it's not an entitlement. You don't deserve to fly it at a young age because you don't know what you're doing. You don't have enough experience flying planes like that.
Captain Will Smith here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. And what's your websites again, Will?
It's willsmithaviation.com. If you want to get into aviation, or if you just want someone like me with 25 years experience in aviation to come check out your operation, come check out your pilots, make sure you have the right pilot flying you around. Give us a call because I do that as well.
Kind of an audit.
Yeah,
consult.
exactly. Just kind of come in and look and make sure things are being run properly. And then there's CaptainWillSmith.com, which is the books and all that good stuff about what I'm doing in the community and helping people in the reentry program.
I got one more clip I want to get your comment on. This is Ted Cruz, Senator Ted Cruz, on his podcast. And he's talking about this panel that was assembled to discuss the classified documents.
Number one, CNN continues to self-satirize as you look at their panel discussing President Biden's political fortunes, and you have four liberals discussing it. You've got Jake Tapper, who's gone dramatically to the left. You have David Gergen, who was, of course, a senior White House official to Bill Clinton. Always worked with Republicans as well, but he's always been left of center. You've got Kucinich, who's far left of center, and then you've got Charlie Dent, who's probably the most liberal Republican to serve in the House in a long time. So that's their panel. Normally, you and I would be upset. And by the way, You've logged a lot of miles, Ben, on CNN, so you're familiar with stacked panels of the left hand and the far left hand sitting there having a conversation.
I did my 7 years in hell, as we describe it. The 7 years in hell is what I did. I did my tour of duty.
So it's just amusing listening to Tapper go through the panel, but then you have Gergen. Even a panel of people on the left are sitting there going, holy crap, as Gergen put it, Biden's getting creamed. This last week was one of the worst weeks, if not politically the worst week of the Biden administration. You'd have to go back to the absolute disaster in Afghanistan, to 13 American servicemen and women being murdered, to find a week that politically caused as much consternation in the Oval Office as this week did.
Yeah, just think about it, what's going on there. And then you see when it was first found out, these classified documents were found out back in November before the midterms, but they didn't bring it out until.
Of course not.
And then, of course, when it happens to the other side, it gets leaked all over the place. Right. The press is all over it, and there's all these people jumping in, and how could he? How could he? And now it's the proverbial cover up from the left. But we got to go to a break. Quick comment, and then we got to get to break, and we'll come back more with Captain Will Smith.
That's his karma coming back to bite him. This man talks out of both sides of his mouth. He shouldn't be the CEO of a business, more or less the CEO of our country.
Yeah, exactly. 10% for the big guy. All right, taking a quick break. Coming back, Captain Will Smith, Consumer Quarterback Show. Feel good story of the day coming up too as well. Police officer buys a week's worth of groceries for struggling woman. Feel good story of the day coming up. More with Captain Will Smith. We'll be right back.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
All right, Brandon Rhymes, Consumer Quarterback Show. Quick shout-out to our friends at Discovery Golf Cars, longtime friends of the program. They've got the Star EV, the Cushman. They have new and pre-owned golf carts available. They hooked me up with the Keller Williams Red, beautiful golf cart, easy go golf cart. I like to take the dogs for a ride. I like to go door knocking as well for business use, so you can use them for business or personal pleasure. DiscoveryGolfCars.com. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Take them up on those special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. All right, hot listing for this segment. We've got some hot real estate properties around Tampa Bay. We've got a property. This is actually Linda's listing here at 8868 Indigo Trail. 8868 Indigo Trail, one of our hot real estate listings. This is an updated home. Great opportunity. Beautiful property. 1,707 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bath. You got a 2-story townhome in Osprey Lakes. Gorgeous kitchen. I love the lighter colors as well. Great opportunity to own real estate in Hillsborough County. Large screened-in patio, large open floor plan, his and her walk-in closets. 8868 Indigo Trail Loop in Riverview, Florida. One of our hot listings from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. 16400 Gulf Boulevard. I want to take you over to Pinellas. This is a waterfront condo. 400 square foot condo, just over $300,000. So it's a great asking price, and that is your view. Check out the beautiful view overlooking the pool and the beach. It's got dolphin-filled water, sugar sand beaches at 16400 Gulf Boulevard, Reddington Beach, Pinellas County. Oceanfront property, beautiful home right here in Tampa Bay. You can see all of our real estate listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
This is God's country.
All right, Captain Will Smith in the house. We were talking about aviation and some of the challenges that we're finding. I mean, I think right now too, when you look at just overall as an economy, I mean, here's a story about the CPI for December was down 6.5% down from 7.1 in November. Core CPI was 5.7%, slightly down, so from 6% in November. But when you look at some of the labor force combined with wages, there's an increase in wages, but it's not even keeping up with inflation is the long and short of that.
Right.
So people are hurting. People's savings. Yesterday's show, I talked about record debt and the lowest amount of savings that Americans have. So the economy is not in good shape.
Nope.
We're going into a deeper recession this year. 23 of 25 economists said in one of the stories we read last week. I think it was a Wall Street Journal. But what are you seeing in your side of the aisle there?
Well, it's the same struggle. I mean, the price of gas has doubled. It went from $5 a gallon down in Miami. It's $9 a gallon. The price of gas is cheaper in the Bahamas than it is in Miami.
Wow.
Go figure.
Huh.
So with that said, also, the unions are saying, hey, pilots unions and the flight attendants unions are, well, we need more money because it costs more to live.
Right.
I just have to raise my per diem that I charge when I'm away from home from $3 to $4 to offset the cost of just going out. Because when you're on the road, you're not cooking at home. You got to go out to a restaurant, and to go out to a restaurant. A year ago, I paid for a Cobb salad. I think I paid $12. I went back to the same place a year later and paid $24 for the same salad. So it doubled just on a salad. Sitting down to eat, everything increases. Insurance has increased. Insurance has increased because there's been more aviation incidents and accidents because you have inexperienced people, at the helm. So this makes a cost increase. So along the board, our insurance this year, just on the airplanes, the private aircraft, went up 30%.
Yeah.
And it's not my fault. It's the people that, they're compensating for the losses they had during, number one, some of the hurricanes that came through and wrecked some planes, and number two, incidents and accidents of people crashing the planes and unfortunately,
well, litigation too.
Yep.
Litigation on the residential real estate side, on the roofing industry. A lot of these unscrupulous characters were going around door knocking. Hey, we can get you a free roof.
Right.
And
Yep.
the lady's like, I don't need a free roof. What do you mean? Well, we had a named storm come through here last week, and we can get you a free roof. So that's what happened with that. And then Governor DeSantis came in and did a legislative. They had a legislative session. They worked on it a little bit. We have to get Doug on for an update. Doug Levi, Strategic Insurance, for the full rundown of that. But yeah, everything's costing more. The overhead's costing more. Employees are costing more,
Right.
and that's what's happening in a lot of businesses.
Yeah.
You're seeing that across the board. I got about 30 seconds. Back to you, my friend.
Well, I mean, the cost is increasing in training. The cost is increasing in production. So, unfortunately, if you have an inflation that's 12%, you only increase your pay 3%. You still have a gap there. So
Yeah.
you're really not, you're not helping the problem. It's not. You have to get your pay increase above the inflation to start seeing a difference, and that's not going to happen. And the cost of doing anything anymore is just going to be passed down to the consumer that's not getting enough, not getting paid enough to begin with. So I see it really in the next 6 months. We're going to have some serious issues.
Yeah, and we got to get this turned around with the next voting, the next big vote for the president.
2024,
make sure,
we got to get the clowns out of the White House.
Got to do it. And the World Economic Forum is going on right now as well. Listen to Charlie Kirk's show, and they're talking about one world government.
The massive reset. They say
they want the Great Reset. They don't want American sovereignty. It's happening. It's real.
Yep.
It's not a conspiracy. It's real. It's out there. So you've got to do it. Everyone, we have to do it. We've got to come together and support like-minded companies and individuals. Captain Will Smith, check him out online, Captain Will Smith. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks. See you, Brandon.
Coming up, Ray Hall Appraisals on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're going to talk about real estate markets, and we'll be right back here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast on iTunes and Spotify, or check out our YouTube channel. Have a blessed day.